YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Films here, and today we have my updated tier list for Deadlock for June. Now, this tier list is based on the recent earn changes where you have to do the King of the Hill style, event or whatever you want to describe it as, the little side event. And it's honestly a really fun and enjoyable way to play the earn now. The punch mechanic was a little bit wacky and sometimes pretty unreliable and completely flip-floppy, but with this it actually encourages fighting a lot more and to properly team fight and properly structure, which is quite enjoyable. And like I said, if you like this type of content, want to see more, make sure to like the video, of course subscribe to the channel. I try to explain all the reasonings behind my picks of where I place certain characters. My opinion might be different from yours, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you have your own ideas, let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, let's get started. Now we begin our tier list with the blue detective Abrams. Now he kind of reminds me of the Three Little Bears and the Porridge. He is just right. He's not too strong, he's not too weak, he's pretty good. For a frontline hero, he can do a substantial amount of damage, he has a lot of self-sustain, he has a lot of self-peel, and he has the opportunity to peel for his teammates. He makes a pretty solid frontliner, especially in this little circle meta, or AoE slot meta, where everything basically revolves around AoE abilities. He has his charge, he has his ultimate, he has his AoE suck, or life drain is what I like to call it, his AoE suck. But I think he sits around the B tier category. And if you're wondering why should I listen to my own opinion, well, I'm an Infernus rank player, former Marvel Rivals coach and analyst, and these are just, how I view the game as. Abrams, pretty solid, probably sitting around the B tier as of right now. Now, moving on to Apollo. So the thing with Apollo is that they did a lot of changes to his kit to where his flawless advance doesn't have as big of a hitbox, so it's a little bit more difficult to hit. It's not necessarily completely missing your abilities. It's terrible, but I think the character still takes some new skill, some new understanding to make this character completely viable, especially with his riposte, which now you have to click it onto somebody to actually stun them. But if somebody shoots you, you can still proc it and do that little iframe of negating that damage. But I still think he's a really good character. I think people still need time to understand how to properly use him now. He's no longer a, brainless character. Before, with his riposte, where you could just parry anything. It was pretty brainless. It was pretty, it's pretty stupid. But I think now he is in a more balanced state in terms of just how to use the mechanics of the character, rather than just being, you can do pretty much everything with this character. He lost one of his get out of jail free cards, but he still has his 1, he still has his 3, he still has his ultimate. All of these are movement abilities packed into a damaging ability. So I think this character sits in the middle. I think in the right hands, this character can move up a couple tiers. In the wrong hands, this character can feel completely terrible and horrible to play, especially with the changes. But I think with the changes, he sits in the middle, and I think there still needs to be time put in to get a full understanding of this character to play him properly now. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is the B tier. Moving on to Bebop, and now with Bebop, he received some nerfs to his gun. His bomb damage got increased by, I think, plus 10, around that, from 75 to 80 or 75 to 85, somewhere around those lines. I'm not entirely 100% sure, but it was around that. Also, his gun got nerfed, like I just stated. I think the character overall is still pretty good. I think he has his uses, he has his cases as a big character. Again, we're looking more at a big AoE meta. You're looking at characters that do a lot of AoE damage, that have the opportunity to use AoE abilities. So his bomb is pretty much AoE, but how you fight at the earn now, this character can't really provide too much, but he's still really good. His ultimate is pretty good if you're going for the ultimate build route in terms of the lightning scroll and is trying to zap everybody inside of the AoE, which can be pretty good to do. However, I think because of the recent changes in how the meta is shifting, this character falls down quite significantly than what I used to have him as. I think he still is playable. I think you just need the right circumstances. So in my honest opinion, I think I'm sitting around the C tier, at least for Bebop as of right now. Moving on to Billy. Now, I stated Billy in one of my past videos as one of the biggest winners of the recent urn change, that being the one where you had the melee the urn. And now with this new urn, I think he still is a big winner. Like, I still think this character is significantly good. You see him picked a ton in tournaments and high-ranked lobbies, especially in the Deadlock Night Shift. You see Loki W playing it. You see pretty much a lot of the teams, when you want a good, solid frontliner, you pick Billy. I think Billy, in terms of this right now, this new urn with the King of the Hill style, I still think he revolves around the A-S tier. So I'm going to be putting him S tier. And I think that is probably the best case for him, is that he sits in the S tier, at least in my humble opinion. Moving on to Calico. I think Calico is one of those characters that just suffers so much. I think, especially what the meta is now with the AoE, she can't really go in and get that backline pick because everybody's team fighting. Sometimes you can get away with playing Calico and doing something with her because of just how the game works. In the midst of all the confusion and chaos happening in the game, Calico can get behind and go for like a solo isolation pick. But I think right now with the urn and how it is and how you're playing, this character struggles to find an identity. Or the identity is there, but she struggles to find any value. So I think she sits around the D tier. Like I said, I think all the characters in this game are pickable and playable. I think every single character is viable, but there's just so many reasons to why you want to pick a character over another. Especially if the draft system from other MOBAs was in this game, it'd be so much easier to move characters up certain tiers because you could ban their counters, or you could pick, you would know what you're playing into, but that's just kind of the idea there. Anyways, moving on to Celeste. I still think Celeste is a high priority character, mainly for the fact that she's just so good. That's really about it in my eyes. She's so good. She's still really good. Maybe not S anymore. I think sitting around the A tier. That's probably what I'm thinking. She has a really good ultimate for the fights. She just does a lot of damage. You saw Do playing her in the night shift and absolutely carrying melee creeps. So I still think she's really good. But in terms of like a frontliner hybrid character, I think you would better be sorted with a proper frontline, like a Billy, an Abrams. I wouldn't necessarily like say like Silver or like a Shiv, Viktor-ish. So probably still sitting around the A tier. Yeah, at least for me. Then Doorman. So Doorman received some nerfs. I still think he's pretty good. He has a lower pick rate as of recently because of just how it goes. It's the same thing with like Bebop, where it's like kind of like a pick character. You're trying to go in, try to get a pick with your door and your ultimate. The recent change made him so where he can't instantly kidnap you, but he can still kidnap you under Walker and still be a complete nuisance and menace. Still does a lot of damage in lane, can still be rather annoying to deal with. But you have items like Counterspell, Indomitable, Unstoppable, Dispel Magic. All these can be used to counter Doorman. I still think he's okay. I think he's sitting around B tier right now in terms of the, you know, the proper meta. Drifter, I think Drifter is really bad right now. I think he's sitting CD mainly because his ultimate struggles to find any value now, especially with the urn. I think they would have to do something with his ultimate to make him more impactful, and that's mainly because your entire team is stacking on top of one another in that AoE, so you can be aware of what's going on. And the meta is kind of like a death ball, so this character will struggle to find value. But I think there is certain cases where he can get a ton of value. Like I said, if we're death balling, this character is going to struggle because he needs isolation. So I think he sits around CD-ish tier, maybe C tier, I would say. Dynamo, I think Dynamo's really good. It's another case of it's just Dynamo. He ults, he wins the game. I think I put him A, probably. They didn't do any changes to him, but I still think this character is just really good. You could be losing the game or losing the match, and one good Dynamo could just completely flip the entire narrative. So I think he still is significantly good. Moving on to Graves. I think Graves is really good as well. I don't know if I would put her S tier. I don't like putting a ton of characters in the S tier. I still think she's really good though. Even with the recent like kind of nerf a couple days ago on I think the 31st, where they slightly adjusted her numbers, I still think she's really good because of her ghoul, her lane pressure, and everything else. But the thing about this character is like she's really easy to counter if you know what you're doing. You just buy dispel magic and you buy other items, and this character is just significantly worse in a lot of cases. So I think she sits around the A tier, in my honest opinion, because I think she struggles. If people know what you're doing, like it's like hard for her to get value. That's the issue with this character. She farms low elo because people don't understand what to do against her. But once you start getting higher up in ranks and just like playing against more seasoned players, like she significantly drops off. I would put her S if it was prior to the 31st nerf to her. But now because she got nerfed and people like are finally understanding that, oh, maybe I should not get hit by the ghouls or the line. Maybe I should shoot this skulls. Then she starts to drop down. Yeah. Great Talon. I think Great Talon's really good. I think he's really good. I put him A. Put him A tier. I think he's really good. Haze is a pick character now. I still think she's really good. For what she does for her job. I think she sits C tier though. She's good for getting those ganks. Good for getting those stealth picks. Using curse, getting your ultimate, getting your one and done, and getting out. That's kind of the idea about this character. She's viable in a lot of cases, but it's hard for her to find a ton of value in certain scenarios, especially if the enemies start buying metal skin, then she loses a lot of her value. But I think she sits around C. Like I said, all the characters are still viable. I think in terms of priority, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Holiday. Holiday is not good to me. I don't think so. Now, Infernus. Low-key, this character is broken. And it's mainly because this character does a ton of damage, a ton of hybrid damage, so you can't necessarily build metal skin because it goes through the metal skin because he's hybrid, dealing spirit damage with his afterburn. And I think he's A. You can either build him gun or you can build him dash. And the reason why he's so good is because they increase his ammo growth or his bullet growth so that it's even easier to proc afterburn now. And if you can consistently proc afterburn in lane and out of lane, your damage is going to be insanely high, and it's going to be easy for you to farm a ton of damage and just do so much for your team. With that being said, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this character and still have yet to find the potential because like they nerfed his dash build, but he can still be built dash and still do a ton of damage. The only thing with his dash is that they nerfed the damage to the walkers pretty significantly, and they nerfed the damage to players by only a couple of points, so it doesn't really change too much with this character. I could put him B, but I think he sits between B and A, and I'm leaning more towards the A side because I think he's just really good. And this people are afraid to pick him and they don't know how to play him, or they don't have the best of aim depending on how you're building him. Like I said, you could still build him dash because he still does a ton of damage. So I think putting him A is fine for me. Beyond to Ivy, I think Ivy's fine. She's really good. She's like in the middle, she's balanced. You can build her a couple different ways, especially with the new urn system. Having the gargoyle, having the lightning scroll ultimate as well, having the kutsu is really good. All of this is good, so probably to B. Moving on to Kelvin. Kelvin got nerfed. I think he's sitting B. He's still a really good support, does a lot of healing, or if you want to build him the damage route, he does a ton of damage. I think, especially with this new urn system, just ice pathing around the whole little King of the Hill area is really good. So that is probably what I'm thinking with Kelvin. Moving on to Geist. The issue with Geist is that, like I said, AoE is a big thing. Geist only really has her bomb. I think there has to be a time and place for her, and I think she's like B. She's just hard to find value on right now in my eyes. Lash. Lash is A or S. I think S, actually. I think he's really good. McGinnis is S because of her ultimate, her wall, and her turrets. Just being in that AoE King of the Hill style area is very good. Mina, I still think Mina is very good. People say she's terrible. I think she's really good. You just have to build her a different way now. You get Spirit Sap, you get Cold Front, and you go for one-shots, essentially. You don't necessarily go into your ult build or anything of the sort. You play for your rake, and you're just playing to do a ton of burst damage in a second. So she takes a little bit more skill and understanding of how to play the character properly, but that's kind of my idea. Mirage, I don't think Mirage is that good. I'm not sold on this character because of how this character wants to sit on the side lane and just take 1v1 duels, and the meta right now is going to the urn fight, doing a ton of AoE damage, and this character doesn't really get online until he either builds into Tornado with Echo Shard or he gets Ricochet, either or even both. And once you have that, then he starts going up in priority. But because of how long he takes to start up and how important urn fights are, my stocks on this character are pretty low. Yes, you could split push, but just getting the urn and trading that is a lot better. So I think he sits around like the C tier, honestly. Then Mohammed and Kareem, I think he's B. He's fine. He's a really good frontliner. Does a lot of damage, can be rather tanky, and yeah. There isn't too much to say. Like, he's always remained kind of consistent. Paige is a good. I think she's really good support. I think people are sleeping on this character and just need to play her a lot more because she is good. She can do a lot of supportive utility. She can be built a couple different ways, whether it's damage hybrid with support, straight support. You can even build her gun if you want to, although I wouldn't recommend it. She is pretty good. Paradox is S. Obviously, double bomb. You don't play her for the pick or the swap. You play her for double bomb because it does 1 billion damage. Pocket is S. Pretty obvious. Rem is S, pretty obvious. They buffed his healing and everything about this character, and he just does a ton. He has AoE, all AoE characters at the top. 7 is really good. I think 7 is like high A, maybe even S tier, because of how this character operates now. I think his damage is insane. I think now, because the urn is on top of the bridge on the side, and because everyone is sitting in the area, and if you're fighting there and you're ulting S7, you can gain a lot of value. I would even border him on the S tier, but I don't like putting a ton of characters in the S tier because then it kind of makes the tier list kind of invalid to me if you have too many S tier characters. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Shiv in my eyes will always remain good no matter what they do because of how the character is designed and how bloodlighting works and everything else. So A tier. Silver is still really good, still super broken. That's really about it. Sinclair, I think Sinclair is B just by default. He's B because you can't know who you're playing against. You don't know who you're going to be, what characters the enemy team are going to be playing once you load in. And then you get to see the enemy team, and then you realize that all the ultimates you want to copy are kind of terrible, then it's kind of sad. But if a draft was in the game, this character would rise to the S rank because of just how he works. I think in certain matches, if they have, the Lash, the Dynamo, the Kelvin, the Pocket, whatever it may be, this character rises in stocks. But if they don't have that, this character, lowers in stocks. I still think he's a really good character despite that, but I just think it's all dependent on who you're playing against. Venator, for your M1 carry, I think he's still good. He's probably A character. Viktor, I still think Viktor is really strong. His gun got nerfed, but I think his gun build is still very, very good. I've been playing it, and it's this gross still. I think he's still S tier, and nothing's really going to change my mind about that. Vindicta is in a weird scenario to where she can be played, but again, it's like you have to have the right circumstances. Getting the snipes in the King of the Hill is really nice because it's like getting you closer to capturing the urn. So she's useful in that case, but outside of that, she's hard because everybody's deathballing. If Vindicta is caught out, she's just insta-dead. So you have to play very safe and very passive sometimes with this character, and it can be rather annoying to do that because it just feels like you just can't move around the map to do anything. So I think the meta doesn't favor this character as much as others, but I think we're playing C. Visc is amazing. This character is low-key insanely good. Whether you're building support, splatter damage, or punch build 3 different ways, I think he's just very, very good, and people just have yet to really fully understand just how strong he is. Typically, my opinion and what you should build for this character is a splatter support hybrid, I would say, because the character has really good ability to support. He has the cube, and then he has the punch. You can cube your teammate, punch them out of the way, or you cube your teammate and rescue them out of the way. That's why I think he's really good built hybrid. Though, if you want to, you can lean into damage and spirit and punch, which is perfectly fine. You can build the character however you want. That's just my preferred method. Everybody has their own way. So I think A is fine. Vyper, I think Viper's still really good. The issue is that it's a death ball meta. This character struggles playing against certain characters that are higher priority. This character struggles against characters that have a ton of movement, a ton of disarm. So Silver, Billy, Pocket, if you get afflicted, McGinnis with the walls, Viktor sometimes. It's just, this character can struggle playing against the higher priority characters. I still think this character is good, but I just think she struggles to find her identity. Now, Warden, for your M1, I honestly think Warden is the best M1 right now, because how the health scaling is working. Because regardless of how they changed the heal per boon or health per boon in this game, Warden will always remain at the top because of how his healing or his health is scaling. So he's always good. Wraith is probably middle of the pack for me. She's good. She can be bad. It all depends on who's in your game and who you're playing against, unfortunately. This game and these characters really depend on who you're playing against in terms of like the power ranking, but this is kind of my idea or opinion. I think Yamato is the middle of the pack. I think she's good in the right hands. She could be pretty bad in the wrong hands. So with that being said, I think she's like middle of the pack. This is kind of my idea behind the tier list as of June. Let me know. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you like it or not. It doesn't really matter to me. This is kind of what I think from an Infernus ranked player. My opinion as of June. Yep. But anyways, hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one.